gotta tell somebody.
This is the best thing I've ever seen.
That. Let's talk about that.
You need this. Listen to this.
Memorable and exciting.
Well, then be less boring.
I'm going to tell everyone. Wait here.
Mighty remarkable, Big Daddy.
Remarkable.
Welcome to Remarkable, a podcast for B2B marketers that deconstructs the most iconic moments in film, television, pop culture, and advertising for a single purpose: to give you, the B2B marketer, the same storytelling techniques that the pros use. In each episode, you will learn techniques from Hollywood, Pixar, Marvel, and beyond, from Spielberg's hands to yours, bringing remarkable content ideas to you every single week. I'm Ian Faison, CEO of Caspian Studios. This is Remarkable. This week, we're talking about marketing lessons from Curry's Gen Z ads.
Brett Summer at Curry's, my guys. Our offers hit different AF.
With the help of our special guest, Director of Brand at Printful and Printify, David Hooker. David, how are you?
I'm great, Ian. Very excited to talk about something I love and very pleased to be talking about it with you. Indeed.
This is really fun for our listeners who don't know what Curry's is or what Gen Z is or what ads are. We're going to get into that a little later. So yeah, David, why the heck did you pick Curry's Gen Z ads to talk about?
I think two reasons. As I mentioned, I love them. Like they make me laugh. And the second is I think I'm a little bit jealous that I didn't make them myself.
It's serving overconsumption core. We're taking an L right now, chat.
They're really fantastic pieces of not just content, but obviously marketing as well. And I think in particular brand marketing, because they make you feel a way about the Curry's brand that you previously might not have felt. Like, as someone who grew up in the UK and has been to Curry's a whole bunch of times to buy stuff from, I've always thought of it as a place that's kind of convenient, right? Like, it's located in we call them an industrial estate in the UK, like, you know, like shopping malls that are kind of on the edge of town, and that you get a collection of them all next to each other. So, like, yeah, I always just thought of it as kind of a convenient place to get like well-priced electronics. But I think with these ads, what they've done is make people feel like they have a connection with the brand, that the brand gets them. And the genius thing about them is, because of the way that they've created those ads, they found a way to appeal to, you know, the mums and dads who buy electronics and the kids who buy electronics too. And so, yeah, I guess I love them and I'm jealous of them. That would be the two reasons.
Zooming out, tell us a little bit about your role as director of brand at two different companies, which are sort of one company.
Well, they're very much one company now. When I first got the job, that we were not one company at all. We were, enemies is certainly competitors is the space we were in. So I originally joined Printify in January 2022. And I was the first brand person to start at Printify. Printify was founded back in 2015, ostensibly by our then CEO. He's now with the new company. He's the executive chair on our board, not involved on the day-to-day. But he created the business because he's, you know, as most entrepreneurs are, someone with an incredibly entrepreneurial spirit, wanted to make his own business. And he'd had a few failed attempts. And this latest attempt that he'd had was to create personalizable accessories for Apple products, so iPods and MacBooks and things like this. This is back in 2015. And his business essentially failed because, as anyone will know that works in retail or e-commerce, where you're selling a physical product, you have to commit to huge amounts of inventory, or maybe not huge, but like significant amounts of inventory, and you don't know if it's going to sell or not. The statistic that I've come across, which actually comes from the Ellen Carter Foundation, is that in retail, about 21% of all garments that are created are left unsold.
Wow.
In 2023, LVMH, Louis Vuitton, admitted to either sending to landfill or destroying almost $3.5 billion worth of stuff. Because, this is one of the things that is not changing with AI, is that that gamble that you make on what's going to be the top selling color, design, size, like, t-shirts now are oversized, but 5 years ago they were all kind of like skinny. Like, fashion trends is still something no one's been able to predict. They're very kind of erratic. Like, what sold last year almost tells you what's not going to sell this year.
Right.
So his business failed for the same reason a lot of businesses of that size selling physical goods sell. They bought a bunch of inventory that they weren't 100% sure that they were going to sell, and then they didn't sell it. And he thought to himself, there's got to be a better way to do this where the garment or the product is not actually being made until someone's paid for it. And he discovered that actually there are lots and lots of these print houses around the world that can do just that. They just needed the kind of right piece of software. And that's when Printify was born. And Printify and, by coincidence, Printful were created in the same country. They're both established by entrepreneurs out of Riga, Latvia, literally across the river from each other. When we were Printify, we used to refer to Printful as our friends across the river. Like, we didn't say their names out loud. We've gone over that, you'll be glad to know. But what both platforms do is allow you to design your own products by you take your design and you can put it on. We have over 1,300 different products across the two platforms, more than 40,000 different SKUs, SKU being like a size and a color variation. So you can put it on t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, onesies, wall art, mugs, like pretty much anything you can think of. We allow you to put a design on it. You then connect your Printify or Printful account to the likes of Amazon, Etsy, Shopify. TikTok Shop is a place that we're seeing a huge amount of growth at the moment. And you sell. And what we do is effectively democratize entrepreneurship. So we allow anyone, anywhere, to create their own business with no need to commit to huge amounts of inventory. And you can sell anywhere. We've now collectively across the two platforms, we've shipped well over 150 million orders. And we've delivered to like more than 190 countries. We even delivered to Antarctica once. That was fun.
Yeah, Printful is part of Caspian's story because the first merch that we ever made was on Printful. The first two shirts. We have two shirts, one that I made for myself and one that I made for my wife. Were like the V1 when I had just started it, and then another thing which I've talked about on this show before, but that before that, years before that, I had a different podcast. And we wanted to make merch because we're going to Dreamforce. We had like a big sort of like booth and all this other stuff that we were doing, and so we wanted to make merch. And so we had a Printful store on our, because we're a media company, so we had a Printful store. So we used Printful, and then we made these shirts that. So basically, we just sat there for like a couple hours and just came up with the dumbest ideas possible, put them all on a bunch of shirts. So the two of the ones that we made, one is like, an SEO copywriter walks into a bars, pub, whatever. And that was super popular. And then the other one was, we made a shirt that was Kip from Napoleon Dynamite that said, and it was sort of like a stylized, like artistic version of this that said, yeah, they downloaded my white paper, so things are getting pretty serious. And I wore that to speak at this conference, and I had like, no joke, 50 people came up to me afterwards or over the course of the conference and were like, where did you get that shirt? And I was like, you can buy it on our store, powered by Printful.
Fabulous. Yeah, I used to work for Prezi, the online presentation tool.
Yeah.
And we also went to Dreamforce, and we had a t-shirt that said, quit your pitching, as in, too many people were pitching. So yeah, and I got stopped in elevators and stuff by people saying like, where did you get that t-shirt? It's so funny. Our copywriter like dined out on the attention that t-shirt got for ages.
Yeah, there's probably a good pitch slap there joke, as well.
You know what? I think there's actually, if you go to LinkedIn, I think there's actually an agency that teaches you public speaking and stuff that's called Pitch Slap.
Oh, funny. That's funny.
It exists. Like you tend to find most puns do. Right, in some way.
Yeah, somebody made a company, right?
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, and I think it's really interesting to talk about today, because one of the things that I remember, this is almost 10 years ago. No, not quite. It's like 8 years ago or 9 years ago when we made that Printful store. And I remember like merch was like, it's sort of always done as an afterthought in general, anytime you do anything. And I remember, and so there's sort of this like general sort of like malaise or pushback about like merch at events and like what matters and blah, 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 blah. And like, is this just a waste of money? And the CFO goes, what's the ROI on that? And then you go back and look at your drawer and you're like, well, I still wear the shirt that I got from SaaStr. I still wear the shirt that I got from whatever. I had people come up to me all the time that I had this conference back in 2016 that are like, oh, the shirts that you had for that, we had like custom made shirts. We're like, I would still wear it. It's just so funny that people like, want to dig to the ROI of everything. I'm like, how valuable is it if they wear, a Caspian Studios shirt every week to bed at least once? You know what I mean? Like, or gave it to their spouse and they wear it. Like what's the ROI of that?
Absolutely. Like, and you still get people who will come over to your booth because they're like I want to. I'll talk to you about whatever it is you're selling, but like I kind of want one of those T-shirts, or like
give me the T-shirt. Yeah.
Like as we had first time I ever did Dreamforce for Prezi, we were actually helping a lot of the peeps make their presentations. So that used to be my job, as I was on the creative services team, and we had a small team of designers who would make presentations. Our job was to get presentations made for the biggest possible speakers on the biggest possible stages. And when we were super successful, we did some presentations for TED, and we did the likes of Bono and Neo and some other kind of fairly well-known people. But we also did a whole bunch of presentations for folks at Dreamforce one year. And on the last day of Dreamforce, my two designers that I'd flown out to San Francisco, they had been working in a back room in an office across the street. And they were like, can we actually go to this conference? And I was like, the Friday of Dreamforce. I was like, yeah, you can go. Take my badge. And then I was looking around for another badge to give the other one. And our COO actually was like, I'll take mine. And then the two of them went to Dreamforce and basically went on a merch hunt. And we're just collecting all of the merch that they possibly could. And the COO, on the Monday morning, was like, David, you got any idea how many calls I've had? Because you guys have just taken my COO badge,
that's great,
beeped it at every stall at Dreamforce. And, they all think he's a hot lead, right?
Yeah.
But he wasn't at all.
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah. Power of merch. I mean, it makes the world go around. Well, and then I think the other thing there, is, marketing is all about standing out. And one of the things that I just think is so cool about both the platform, but also how this relates into marketing is you can just idea to paper. You talk about AI, you talk about all this other stuff, but you're if you can create really interesting ideas, get it onto a T-shirt. I was the only person in the world who had the T-shirt that I was wearing. What's the power in that, right? It's there's only one place that you can get this shirt on the planet, and that's, at my store. And that store requires, an employee of one. Is I make the ideas, I put it in there, and then I set up the Printful store. That's incredibly powerful for many reasons. But as a marketing team, how empowering is that? And it'd be great if you could give the shirts away, but if people will pay for them, then how good of a shirt did you make,
Yeah, it's amazing. The other thing that all of our research and data indicates to us, and we were talking about Gen Z today, but the younger generation more and more and more want uniqueness. They want products, they want experiences that they can't get anywhere else. And that's a lot of the sellers that we have who are successful on Printify and Printful. They're selling to niches. And before I got this job, I didn't realize some of the niches that were involved, right? Female computer engineers in Ohio apparently love cats, right? That's a thing. Mums who scuba dive, that's a thing. One of our most successful stores it's called Philly Goat. and they sell merchandise all about like the stuff that people from Philadelphia say. Like I went to Philadelphia once and like stopped there on my train journey to somewhere else. So I don't know a lot about Philadelphia, but yeah, like use and things like this that they have on their shirts. So yeah, the amount of niches that there are out there, and which I think is fabulous and fantastic, right? Like I remember back when I was whatever age Gen Z are now, experiences were a lot more uniform, right? Like everybody wanted the same T-shirt with the same logo, and we were all watching the same shows. And you know, there are of course shows that kind of and fashion trends, etc., that cut through that now. But individuality and uniqueness, I think, is way more empowered now. And I think generally speaking, that's a great thing. So your T-shirt of one, you know, being unique to you that only you can have. Look what a fantastic thing to empower and allow people to do.
Well, you know, so it's funny. There's this brand called Bart Bridge. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but it's a Bay Area company. And basically what they have is they started off, and it's the same black trucker hat, but then it has a really cool patch that's like the city of, it'll say Walnut Creek or Richmond or Oakland or whatever. And now I think it's like all of California. And there used to be like a couple of these hats. These have like exploded. They have, I mean, all these different types of hats. You see them everywhere. I live in Walnut Creek. You see them everywhere. You see Martinez, you see like all these different hats. And I just think that the ability to deliver such a personalized, unique thing at either moment in time, like you could have, I mean, you see this with Barstool. They do this all the time. They create a shirt overnight and they start selling it. Where it's like something happens in the game on Friday night, and Saturday morning, or even earlier than that, late Friday night, they have a shirt out already that's like, you know, Game 7 hero, you know, whatever, Buddy Healed, the Buddy Game, whatever it is. Like that stuff, that is so next level. And I feel like most marketing teams aren't sort of fluid enough or adaptive enough to have that. But if you could build that capacity to be that quick to respond and to think of things like that, from a business side is great, but also from a marketing side, that like you can really have some personalization that like, you know, is someone has never seen anywhere else.
Yeah, I think they can take some inspiration and some lessons from some of our merchants. It's going back a little bit, and it's not a moment in pop culture that I followed a lot myself. But the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial was a big thing, right? And the lawyer for Johnny Depp, I believe, her name was Camille, right? And she was like, whatever you think of whether he's telling the truth, she's telling the truth, whatever, like she was kind of an undoubted star of that. One of our TikTok sellers, she was like watching it, loved it, following all of the drama. She went on to Printify, selected a plain black t-shirt, and then with a simple white font across the front of the t-shirt, just put "Camille is my lawyer." Makes a quick TikTok video about it. She sold thousands of copies, thousands of that t-shirt by the next morning, just off of one TikTok video. Like the best part of my job is talking to our merchants, because they're the most kind of resourceful, determined, fast to react, flexible, a bunch of people who are entire businesses by themselves, right? Like they're marketers, they're creative directors, they're accountants, they do all of that. Like I did a post on LinkedIn a couple of years ago saying like, don't get your kid an MBA, like get them to open an e-commerce store and they'll learn everything they need to learn about business, and they might make some money at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, not even just the MBA. It's just like everyone should just do that. You are a business of you. Like everybody is, you know? And I think that, you would just learn a lot about yourself. Maybe it's not for you, but maybe it is, and you don't know it. Can I also just say really quickly here that this copy is so good on Printful's website. Start a global brand with a $0 investment. In an hour, your designs could be selling online. that is such good copy. And on Printify, very similar copy. Start with a $0 investment. Select your product, add your design, start selling. Like, it's just, it's an incredible platform, and it's an incredible opportunity for people to build businesses and be creative. And it's really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I've been working in marketing for quite a while now. And I think the best experiences I've had is when I've been able to really connect with the value that the product it allows to have. So, for example, when I was working at Prezi, the fact that you could come off of stage, having given a presentation where people have paid attention to you, right, like, was an amazing thing. And the same at Printify, Printful, the fact that we're giving people who otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity to make money. Like at Printify, we always boiled our value down to three things, and we call it the 3 shots of freedom. We give you time freedom, so you work when you want, when you have your own e-commerce store. We give you career freedom. You call the shots. You choose on the design. You choose the product. You choose how much it sells for. And then we give you financial freedom, right? The ability to make some extra money. The stat I heard 2 weeks ago is 48% of Gen Z in America believe that they will have to have a side hustle for the rest of their working life. Right? Like, this feeling that all of us are going to have to do kind of something extra to make money is kind of like everyone's beginning to accept that. And so what more fun side hustle could you have than creating your own fashion empire that could go somewhere, or putting, a design that you feel represents a moment in pop culture you love and selling it to your friends. Like, it's a great thing to have. And for me, the fact that I get to work for a company that allows that to happen, and a lot of the merchants that we have, like one of my favorite merchants, she's called Cassie. She's from, I think, Nebraska. It's one of those states in the middle that you fly over. I don't want to get it wrong, but like, Cassie lost her job at the beginning of the pandemic. She was on a commission-only sales job, and she was like kicking ass with that. But like, because of the pandemic, the job disappeared. She's stuck in a house. She can't go out. She's got a young kid to feed. Hubby also lost his job as well. And long story short, she's now in the kind of, how many years since the pandemic are we? 3.5, 4 years. She's turned over well over $1 million in terms of like sales that she's been able to make. And I never get sick of telling that story to people, because like, I helped make that happen. So when you get to work for a company that empowers that kind of, mission and allows that kind of thing to happen, every day's a good day.
Final piece here. One of the ones, Polychrome Goods, they have a shirt that says, "No regrets, just baguettes."
JM, who's behind Polychrome Goods, is one of my favorite people. Like, and one of these people who absolutely is completely within his own niche. Like, if you jump on a call with him, he's wearing his hat, he's wearing his t-shirts. Yeah, I go through his store sometimes and I'm like, maybe I'll just buy one of everything. Like, it's great. His stuff is fantastic. His products were picked up and exhibited in Le Bon Marché, which I didn't know until he told me, but is a huge department store in Paris, like on the level of Harrods or Macy's or something like this. And, he's just a guy actually from the Bay Area, and then he moved to New York. And like, he's just an ordinary dude. Now he's in Le Bon Marché and has his own brand. And, we're talking about him on a podcast. So it's amazing.
A shirt that says "Brie leave" with a slice of brie, and "Stay sharp" with cheddar. And it's great stuff.
Yeah. I'm a complete sucker for puns.
And so is everybody, right? And I think just the idea of like being different and standing out is, it's like we simultaneously want two things in this world: to stand out and to fit in. And that's really what this episode is all about. Meredith, what the heck are Curry's Gen Z ads?
So just first off, like I wasn't really familiar with Currys before this. So I was like, what's the deal with Currys? Currys reminds me of like a UK Best Buy.
That is Meredith O'Neill, our amazing producer extraordinaire.
So if anyone's kind of wondering, what they do, who they are. But they started this video campaign in 2024 that uses primarily Gen Z slang. And like, it's not like every once in a while, it's literally like every word is some sort of Gen Z slang. So it sounds like its own language. And their phrases like, that's so chuggy.
Skinny jeans, that's so chuggy.
And no cap, and this one slaps. But they're talking about like blenders and washing machines and computers.
Hi, Chads. Not us learning how to use a washing machine today. It's giving millennial.
But for a lot of the videos, it's not like a Gen Z person in the videos. It's a guy who's probably like in his 40s named George saying things like,
Brat summer at Curry's, my guys. Our offers hit different AF.
So that gives you sort of an idea what we're watching. And by the way, Gen Z people are those born between 1997 and 2012. So they're like 13 to 28 years old. I'm older than that. So it still sounds like total like alien language. But anyway, the videos were part of a broader campaign called Be More Like Currys that was developed in collaboration with Fabric Social and iSight. And the main goal was, quote, overcoming the deep mistrust Gen Z holds toward brands, 95% of which have lower trust ratings with this demographic compared to older adults. And that's according to Advertising Week. So this was a core challenge in shaping the campaign. So it was meant to boost engagement and following on social media among specifically Gen Zers by creating content that felt native to these platforms. So they're making specifically TikTok and Instagram videos to be on those platforms, and they worked. So the videos at this point have 65.9 million views and more than 5.5 million likes, and that's on TikTok alone. And the campaign also more than doubled Curry's following on TikTok within a year, which like they had like, I think 85,000 followers and now it's 185,000. And meanwhile, Instagram had 7.46 million impressions, over 2 million likes, and Curry's has since been recognized for this campaign by Mashable, Wired, Marketing Week. They've gotten lots of positive attention for it. So I think like part of why these videos work is they're not actually like really trying to sell you any of the products, even though they might be talking about like a microwave or a washing machine, but they're really just like working to entertain their audience and create these sort of culturally relevant videos, content by literally speaking the language of their intended audience. But since I'm like not really that familiar with Currys, I'm wondering, David, if you could talk about how they sort of appeal to audiences of different generations. So like outside of this campaign, what have you seen that they've done to appeal to these other generations?
So the first thing I want to say is the other genius part of the campaign is, as well as having boomers, I guess, speaking Gen Z slang, they also inverted it. So also a couple of videos where it's Gen Zers using millennial and boomer slang, like incredibly begrudgingly, right? Like, and like he's, like a young 20-year-old store assistant, literally like reading the things out loud.
Catchfields for another retailer will clap back on anything. Even air fryers, boy. No, because duh.
So they inverted it to make it work both ways. And I think particularly one of the really, really great things about this campaign is I think it's the first good campaign Currys has ever done ever. Like really. Like their marketing previously was really very much of the, like Best Buy, I think also does this, or kind of place like, big picture of the electronic item, the price that it was originally with a line through it, the new price for the star around it. Right? Oh yeah. Their marketing, right? Or a long list of all of the different features the product has. And, a lot of, get it on 0% credit, or like buy one, get one free on
Memorial Day weekend sale, etc.
Yeah. All of that stuff, which, to a degree is effective. I think particularly to kind of like people who very much know the thing that they want and they turn up to get it. But yeah, I've never really ever thought of Currys as being innovative or, really being something that could really connect with an audience. And the part of the reason I like it is because, they're an old school corporate company, but I think the lesson is here that you can be an old school corporate company and still find a new way to do things. And what's happened to me is if you ever go into a Currys, and I think it's the same, I'm trying to think back to the times I've been in a Best Buy, I think it's the same. They are places that you end up going as a family, right? Like you pop in there with mom and dad because like dad wants to get a new toaster. And like, so it is a thing that the whole family goes to. And you have that divide in generations. But at the same time, electronics are things that, old and young want, right, typically. So I think, someone's looked around the store and go, hang on, I've got old people in here. I've got young people in here. I've got middle-aged. What can we do with that? And so, that's for me, it's brilliant. And I love the fact that it's come from a place you wouldn't expect it to come from.
Yeah. I love that they flipped it too. So there's kind of like making fun of all generations. It's not just Gen Z making fun of boomers or that sort of thing, but that's brilliant.
The other thing that I thought was really fascinating about that is that this could have been an ad for anyone. Like any brand could have made this ad, like all of these ads. There's nothing specific to Currys that, and I know it's part of the broader Be More Like Currys campaign, but like truly any ad or any company could have done ads like this. And it kind of fits for a retail brand, right? Because like any company could go to any retail brand, right? Like you don't need to go to Currys to get your flat screen TV. You go anywhere. And so I think that is really smart. It's so good that anyone could do it. And a lot of times we talk about the opposite of sort of like do only what sort of makes you unique. And this is sort of the exact opposite. It's just so funny that now people associate Currys with being funny. And that's pretty hard to do, but pretty great.
And it's fantastic when you achieve it, because what you end up with is a bunch of people who have an affection for your brand, right? And to your point, they might not know just how big the flat screen TV is or what it cost 2 weeks ago, that it now in the 4-day weekend sale costs however many % lower. But if they're given the choice between Currys and Currys' big competitor is PC World, like choosing between the two of them, like let's pop in the Currys. They made those funny ads, and we'll go in there.
Need a new phone? I'd bet say less. This one's bussin' skibbity toilet riz, and the WhatsApp access is sending me.
And I think that's a thing that a lot of marketers miss, right? That there's the temptation to think, okay, we sell this, we sell that, and we sell the other. Let's get the thing that we sell. Let's make it big. Let's put it in front of people, tell people how much it is, and then they'll decide to. But actually, in the place that we are in now and the zeitgeist at the moment, it's actually about generating affection and as well as awareness, right? It's not just enough to know that we exist. It's also like, can you like us? And it's almost like being likable. That goes a long, long way. And now people given a choice. I mean, it's the classic Jeff Bezos thing, right? Brand is what people think about you when you're not in the room. And Currys are not here in the room, and we're talking about how much we love them. And that's what they've been able to achieve.
Yeah, it's affinity over awareness. And you could get the message of the Memorial Day weekend sale, but boy, how much easier is that to land when they already like you, Yeah. Okay, what are some B2B marketing takeaways from Currys Gen Z ads?
Well, the first thing is that these ads were created, they might have well paid the agency a huge amount of money, and the agency deserved it. But like the actual creation of the ads themselves, from what we can tell, looks really, really cheap, right? It's made on a phone camera. It's made using what look to be employees of actual Currys.
This air fryer is the GOAT. On point cash with that low-key drip to have all your guests saying, yes, slay queen, he cooked.
Certainly not famous actors, people who can memorize a few words. They're made on one long shot. So the lesson there being that you can be a big stuffy corporation, which I already mentioned, and you can still make great content, great stuff. You don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to make really good, great content that works. Investing in the content and the quality of the content always pays off. You don't have to sell the product. And I think particularly in B2B, right, there's the temptation of like, we have to get the one pager with all of the stats in front of the CFO and get the CFO to make a decision. And like, you don't lose sight of the fact that you're still selling to people, right? Okay, you're B2B, but that B is a population of people, right? Okay, you've got an ecosystem of decision makers, but they're all human beings, at least for the moment. So people, even if they're in a business setting and they're, having to negotiate with two other stakeholders in order to get something through, they're still people. And you can create great quality content that brightens up people's day, that generates awareness and an affinity for your brand without spending a lot, if you focus on the content itself and you give yourself a goal of being funny and or likable, right? And doing something different, right? Don't just do what everyone else, like someone at Curry somewhere like was bored of what they were doing and wanted to do something else and took a chance with these ads, right? I'm sure there was someone in the meeting room somewhere who went, okay, but you're not telling them how much the toaster costs. Yeah. You're not giving them any idea of what the reduction is. How are they going to know where our stores are? And the fact that we've got, a 4-day sale, right? I'm sure that person existed. The naysayer was there, but the naysayer was wrong. Like, if you make really great quality content that people connect with, enjoy, it's going to do good things for you and your marketing.
Yeah, and it's just about multiple messages at the same time that fit different sort of needs of the consumer, right? It's like you go on Instagram or TikTok or whatever because you want to waste some time and you want to scroll and you want to laugh or whatever. And wouldn't you know it, there's this funny thing in my feed, right? Like there's 0% chance that what shows up in their feed is we have a sale running on toasters. 0% chance, right? Unless you pay for it to be there, right? Unless you pay for the ads. There is a really good chance, if you make something very funny that lots of people like, that it will migrate and figure out its way into someone's feed. So if you're only investing in content to say like, here's our products and here's our services and this is what we do, that stuff will never go viral. Like your product video is not going to go viral. And nobody's even going to like it. Like it's a utility. It's like, it's there to describe what your product does, but it's not going to find its way to other corners of the internet. It's just not going to do that. Unless, perhaps you've made a product that's so unbelievably spectacular that it does do that. And then in that case, you should be quadrupling down on marketing to make sure that you're doing other things that are getting in front of people. Because if it's that good, boy, is it going to find a lot more people if you pour creative marketing and drive affinity with it. And so I just think that like so much of content is just being informational, and like being entertaining is arguably easier to do, even though we pretend like it's harder, because the outcomes that you can get are that much bigger.
Yeah, I think also think about what works when you communicate internally, right? Someone who, delivers an update on what their function is doing, who does it in an entertaining way, people look forward to that update, right? Like the salesperson who gives you the sales update with stories of who they've sold to and how it happened, how the deal went, people look forward to that. The person who goes, okay, the numbers are up by X%, this one's down by Y%. Like no one looks forward to getting that update. Maybe CFOs, but they're built differently, right? Like, so, that's the other thing you can do is you can experiment with your internal communications, right? Where it's not in front of an audience, that could potentially buy your product, to just learn how kind of things work and how to make stuff that's funny or different, or like, there's lots and lots of places that you can experiment with, but yeah, like the same old will get you the same old result.
Do you remember, or like man on the street videos or woman on the street videos, depending on who's doing the interviews? I was thinking of that with this, where I was like, there's an alternative that they could have done. And these, very popular in like late night shows and things like that, Jimmy Kimmel, and you have Guillermo go on the street, just ask random stranger stuff. And it's just such a tried and true format, right? Of like, ask crazy things to random people on the street and see what they say. And I feel like this is like a cousin of these Curry's ads, because it works better that they're real employees, right? It's like the fact that they're real employees just like makes it all work a little bit better. And there's just this like, it's that surprise. It's that element of the unknown. It's that like thing that you just don't expect is going to come from this ad. And that's what makes it just so clever. And so much of our content, especially in B2B, you know exactly what the next line is going to be. You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's like, you know exactly, hey, it was a 3x ROI on the campaign. Let me guess. It was a pretty easy installation. Yep. Implementation was actually shorter than they thought it was going to. You know what I mean? Like, we know the answers to the test already, and we're not creating any serendipity or surprise for the audience. And like, that's what makes it interesting. That's why I say the devil has the best lines, because the bad guy is the most, why you cannot look away from the Joker in The Dark Knight is because you don't know what he's going to do next. And that's kind of what these ads feel like, right? It's like, you just don't know what's going to be next. And it's just so funny in that way.
The other thing that adds to them is not just that they're real employees, it's that it's filmed on a phone, right? Like that adds a layer of current authenticity to it, right? That like you're in a real life moment that's been really captured.
If you've got the guap, a pizza oven is peak flex. These are giving me life. No gas in.
I think the other thing we're beginning to see as well is with the Gen Z generation is they're becoming very, very aware of what great production looks like. And when they see something with great production on their TikTok or whatever feed, and like LinkedIn has a feed now as well, right? Like, so the same thing applies there, is they're suspicious of great production values.
Yeah.
So one of the big things that helps with that Curry's ad is it looks like it was filmed by an employee, as well as featuring an employee. It looks like it was filmed by an employee, which means that you don't swipe in the first 2-3 seconds to something else.
Our returns policy is on fleek, Brev. Don't believe us? We got the receipts.
Because to your point, right, like if you make the super slick product video, first 2-3 seconds, this is an ad, right? Like it's not even what is this an ad for anymore. It's this is an ad, up I go, right? And
there's people in the backgrounds of these videos that are just like shopping. Like they didn't even like close the store. A car drives by.
Yeah. But that authenticity is what the younger generation in particular is craving. They want something authentic, genuine, real, because so much of what they're being fed is formulaic and done by numbers, and that's what they want.
Yeah. I think there's also just a little bit of sort of like, I don't want to say ageism, but just sort of the idea of like, we let the younger employees pick what to do, right? Is sort of the, like, again, for lack of a better term, the inmates running the asylum, right? It's like, all right, we're going to turn it all over to the Gen Z people and let them do it their way, and that's just such a fun idea and concept, right? Of like, hey, we gave all of our marketing budget for this month to the interns, and like, what'll they do? Like that would be someone should do that. That would be hilarious.
And it's the way they flipped it when they said, we gave all of our marketing budget to the dad, right?
Yeah.
Like the back of the store, and let him run it, right? And you get the same comedic result, right? Like it's bad both ways, but like it's fun and engaging both ways.
It kind of also seems like George in the videos delivers the lines like he doesn't really know what they mean either. So There's a real flatness to it, which also brings me joy, I think.
Yeah, it's straight out of the Bill Murray school of deadpanness, isn't it? Like, it's brilliant.
I also think that there's just a lesson here that, like, I've been thinking about this, that ads are so transparent to that. This is going to sound obvious, but I think it's important. Ads are so obvious because they are an ad, right? So like the reason why we like great ads is because we know that they're doing two things. They're trying to sell us some stuff, and they're trying to be funny. And so like the game is sort of implied, right? Is like the audience is in on it. They know that you're trying to sell me something. So a bad ad, you're like, well, that's dumb. And a funny ad, you're like, that's a funny ad. And like, we actually love ads as a society. We hate being served ads when we don't want them, but when we come across a good ad, we love it. And I think that that's like part of this is like, I wonder how many companies out there don't actually put their ads anywhere other than just making them. You know what I mean? Like if you just said, oh, look, like, because nobody knows where their ads are running. You know what I mean? Like if the average consumer, like, I don't know if Curry's ran these on TV or not. Or they could have just uploaded and said, hey, these are our new ads that we're running, and then not run them. You know what I mean? But if they're that good, then people find them. Like there's just something very funny about that.
Yeah, think about the Super Bowl. In the UK, none of us understand how NFL works. When I lived in California, I won my fantasy football league 2 years in a row, but I still don't understand what play action is. Like I have no idea what that means. But here in the UK, like we look forward to the Super Bowl for the halftime show and for the ads. And you're completely like, you know, there are YouTube videos, right, that are the best Super Bowl ads. But you're completely right in the fact that, like, okay, here's the rules of the game. You spent $6 million. You've got 30 seconds. Make me want to buy your product. And like, if you've ever, because I have, you know, sat through the Super Bowl like in real time. You guys must have done it. But have you ever like you're watching the Super Bowl and then someone just runs a normal ad, like an ad that they would run the rest of the time, and you're sat there and you're like, what? No, come on, you're supposed to bring your A game. This is supposed to be entertainment, or like this is a QR code, or this is Kanye West sitting in a taxi talking nonsense. Like, don't just run your normal ad. Like what? So yeah, I think the rules of you're very right. We hate ads that are bad. We hate ads that are delivered when we want to get to something else. But the rest of the time, we're like, come on, sell it to me. I love it. What have you got?
Yeah, give me the pitch. Show me what you got. And I think it's a great lesson. It does make you think. You go, why don't we build the whole plane out of that material? Like, the really good ones that we spend all the time and effort and energy and all that stuff. Like, why don't we just do that more? And if the answer is they're too expensive, figure out a way to make it cheaper. This is shot on an iPhone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's absolutely. Like, amount of money spent doesn't mean great quality content.
Also, I gotta just some of the comments on this. They are very demure. Fills in application to work at Curry's. It's Brat Summer at Curry's, my guys. Will be how I start all my emails moving forward. The way he delivers this microwave ate and left no crumbs is absolutely sending me. Yeah. I didn't know Curry's was chill like that. Its serving cut is peak humor, and I love it. Please. He did such a good job. Immediately give him a bonus, please.
I didn't think about how the employer, the recruitment team must have absolutely loved it. Right? They must be over the moon. I hadn't thought of that as an amazing side effect.
I mean, it's just like you see something like this as a marketer and you think, why would I do anything other than just try to make this type of stuff? Truly.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of the things that, like, when you sit down with a marketer who does a campaign like this, that works so well, and then you hear the phrase that I abhor in this world is what's next, which is so much of like, we make something great and then let's try to do something else. It's like, once you hit gold, like, keep digging, just keep doing these videos forever. This is a bit that is a forever bit. You could do this like the Geico Gecko or the Geico Caveman or the most interesting man in the world or whatever it is. Like, just continue to go back to the well for this forever. Don't try to like catch lightning in a bottle twice. And there's so many people, they come up with something great and they're like, we got to do something bigger and bolder next year, which again, I get that sentiment. That's not my problem. It's more like, just do more of this because people love it. And so anyways, that's my final takeaway is just do more of what's working.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And you also build anticipation like that, like what slang are they going to use next? Like, how are they going to find a way to, like, think about every successful TV drama, they milked the out of those things, right?
Yeah.
Like, how many seasons of The Walking Dead did we have? 16, something
There's
like
a
that.
spin-off.
Well, and like I stopped at season 5 because they were still walking and they were still dead, but like that didn't stop people from like keep on going, So like, keep going until people don't watch it anymore.
We made this, I think it was episode like 3 or 4 of this podcast, where we said the Most Interesting Man in the World campaign by Dos Equis is literally one of the best campaigns ever. There is no reason why they should have stopped it. There's no reason. It's a perfect campaign. It's you have a thing that you just do that for the rest of time. You do that ad until it stops performing. But c'est la vie.
Yeah, Renault, the French car company, has this series of ads, which I believe is still going, where it's for Clio, which is their kind of small compact car. And the ad is the daughter in France drives the car, and then the father steals the keys and drives the car. And the only words in the ad are Nicole, Papa, that's it. And they've done it for like 30 years. And the actors and the actor and actress, like one time they had Thierry Henry, who's a super famous soccer star, come on, and like the deviation was Nicole, Papa, Thierry. Like, that was the kind of huge, great big extra thing there. But they just milked it forever and ever and ever. And everyone's just like kind of interested to see what Papa does with the car next, like keep it going until no one knows what's happening anymore.
Yeah. When you create a character that's great, you just turn it into a series, right? Like, and this is what we see with like modern media, right? Is like, oh, there's a hit thing. Let's make it a TV show, right? Like, oh, a spin-off character. Let's give them a show. Like, and it doesn't always work, but like, that's not how life is. You don't know if it's going to work or not. But like this guy, when literally people in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people are in the comments saying, give this guy a raise, like, you should listen to that. You know what I mean? And probably give him a raise, but also have him make more content because it's hilarious. David, wonderful having you on the show. Our listeners, you got to go check out Printful, got to go check out Printify. If you're doing anything with your marketing, go check them out, create and sell custom products, or you can just order for yourself and for your team. Last question before we get out of here. Do you have one piece of best advice for someone who is a head of brand, who's trying to figure out how to connect, content and marketing?
Yeah, I do. And I think it's a little bit boring in the way, but it's what I tell my team now is don't be so proud of yourself that you're not willing to manage up as well as down, right? I remember the first time I got a director of marketing job, I thought that like, if I just do really, really great quality work, then the people above me would appreciate that work. And then like my life would be fine. But in order to gain trust and autonomy, like you have to be willing to put in the hours to work with those people to get them to trust you. So like on smaller, more kind of micro things, like, I don't know, the invitation for an event or like that snap 2 or 3 slides that your CEO needs to present to the investors or something like that, something that takes you away from your everyday where you're actually going to deliver on your goals. Don't be so proud of yourself that you think you're above that. Like, manage up as well as down, right? Like deliver reports which are easy to read, that have results in them, that like cut to the chase, make the job of the people above you easier, because your function in marketing and then brand marketing in particular, quantifying ROI is super, super hard, right? Like you're not a sales team, you're not a product team. You can't as easily do, number of units sold, number of calls booked, number of deals closed, amount of hours, features shipped, all of these, like it's hard to do that stuff. So you are going to need to earn people's trust, and you do that by, delivering what they want and making their lives as easy as you possibly can.
I love it. So good. David, wonderful having you on the show. We didn't even get to the fact that you have a TED Talk on the importance of visual literacy. So we'll have to link that up in the show notes here. We didn't even get to it.
Dude, visual literacy is more important than ever. Like people...
I know, though. That's what I was going to add. You got 30 seconds on visual literacy for our audience?
I think we're taught in schools and stuff like, literacy and how to read, but also like how to read a source and how to know whether or not something is trustworthy. And I think we're not taught that with visuals, right? And we are not taught why a visual is constructed in a certain way, why that background, why that font, why that color, why that assembly of things. What's the emotion that the person who's created this image is trying to elicit? What are they trying to get me to do? We're not taught of that stuff. We're not aware of that stuff. And so we're vulnerable to it. And I think if everyone just had a little bit more of awareness of like how visuals are put together and how powerful they are, we would then be able to read the stuff that is put in front of us in a much better way and we'll be manipulated a lot less. So yeah, I think visual literacy is an incredibly important thing.
My dad used to say, "Hey, Ian, picture's worth 1,000 words." And I was a smart ass little kid, and I would said something offhand to him. And the next morning, sitting at my breakfast, where my seat for breakfast was a photograph of me in the backyard. And then I flipped it over on the back, and he had written 1,000 words in the postcard. And I forget what it said, but I just remember being like, "Dang, all right, I see you, buddy, see what you're doing." But no, I think it's a cool talk, and I think it's a cool topic. And I think I love 99 PI. It's one of my favorite shows. I think about design, is so cool. And I agree that our visual world is so incredibly important and more important than ever.
Yeah. Go watch the talk.
Yeah. Thanks again, everybody. Check out Printful, check out Printify. Anything else, David?
No, that's it. It's been great. Thank you so much for talking. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Take care. Well, that's it for today. I hope you got some good ideas for your B2B content. Thank you for listening to Remarkable. I'm Ian Faison, CEO of Caspian Studios. Remarkable is created by the team at Caspian Studios, B2B podcast as a service. Caspian also creates fiction series for B2B companies, so if you want a business thriller, you can learn more at caspianstudios.com. Hollywood-style storytelling for B2B. And in today's episode, you heard from myself, Ian Faison, and Meredith O'Neill, senior producer here at Caspian Studios. Remarkable was produced this week by Meredith O'Neill, mixed by Scott Goodrich, and our theme song is Solomon by Falak. Be remarkable and rise above the noise.